Imagine standing in your child's hallway at 3 a.m., in that dead hour when the world is silent but your spirit is loud with a heavy, unexplained dread. You have felt it, that nothingness that feels like a presence, the anxiety that keeps you from sleeping, or the sudden coldness in a room that no thermostat can fix. You look at the crucifix on the wall, but it feels like a decoration, a cultural relic, rather than a living shield. Most parents are terrified of the dangers they can see, the screens, the drugs, the social pressures, but they are completely blind to the fact that their infrastructure of protection has been quietly, systematically dismantled, leaving their families to navigate a spiritual battlefield with a dead compass. We have been raised in a world that brackets the supernatural, teaching us that faith is a moral commitment rather than a tactical reality. But the darkness does not enter dramatically. It moves into the vacuum created by the absence of light, drifting into our homes through the slow, comfortable drift of noise, distraction, and spiritual mediocrity. My dear, the reason you feel vulnerable in your own home is not because you lack faith, but because you have been handed the instruments of the spiritual life without the key that unlocks what they are actually saying. You are holding the answer to your deepest questions in your hands, the rosary, the Benedict medal, the tradition of the fathers, but you are using them at a fraction of their capacity because the meaning has been stripped from them. We are in a structural, civilizational collapse similar to the one Saint Benedict faced in the 6th century, where the legal, moral, and spiritual frameworks of society are coming apart simultaneously. In such an age, you cannot afford to be a spiritually mediocre Catholic. You need to understand the, quote, spiritual physics of your household. You need to rebuild the load-bearing walls of your soul before the man in the corner of your life becomes a permanent resident. To rebuild this shield, we must first look at the nothing strategy used by the enemy. According to the field strategy of the demonic, the goal is not to turn you into a murderer or a blasphemer. That is the crude method that shocks the conscience and drives people back to God. Instead, the enemy wants to corrupt your quality of attention. He wants to fill your life with nothing, noise, the endless scroll of a phone, and a mild stupefaction that makes the interior life feel slightly too heavy to engage with. In this state, you may still go to Mass, but you are fundamentally absent. You receive the Eucharist as a symbol rather than as the fire that the demonic cannot bear. This nothingness is a surgical strike against your interior life, designed to make you forget that you are surrounded by an invisible reality that is paying very close attention to your home. This is why you must perform a spiritual audit of your home, by looking for the 3 concrete signs of angelic presence. The first is an atmosphere of supernatural peace that persists underneath chaos. This isn't the peace of a clean house, but a baseline of interior quiet that your home returns to even during illness or financial pressure. If your home characteristically returns to anxiety and irritability, it is a diagnosis that the conduit of angelic ministry is hindered by unconfessed sin. The second sign is a functioning anticipatory moral awareness. This is the early warning system, where you or your children feel a sudden hesitation or discomfort before a wrong act is committed. If this faculty is dead, you have developed spiritual hearing loss by repeatedly ignoring the interior promptings of your guardian angel. The third sign is a pattern of protection that exceeds coincidence, the particular providence, where circumstances are arranged with a wisdom you could not have planned. This pattern only becomes visible when you practice the examine, the daily habit of looking for the hand of God in your ordinary life. To restore these signs, you must pick up the tactical weaponry of the Church, starting with the Rosary. You must realize that the 5 colors of the Rosary are not decorative. They are a visually precise map of the soul's relationship with the mysteries of salvation. When you hold white beads, you are holding the color of the Transfiguration and the Resurrection. The enemy finds this light most resistant because it represents a soul genuinely oriented toward its glorious destination. Red beads carry the tactical significance of the blood of Christ, which is the most operationally powerful invocation in spiritual warfare. It is a declaration that you are covered by the price paid on Calvary. Gold or yellow beads represent the morning light of the joyful mysteries and the missionary urgency for the billions in Asia who have not yet encountered the gospel. Purple is the color of penance and preparation, essential for clearing the interior noise that prevents the luminous mysteries from landing in your soul. Finally, green is the theological virtue of hope, the unstoppable growth of the plant pushing through the concrete of spiritual dryness or persecution, just as the church grows in Africa. Furthermore, you must recognize the real nature of the mark of the beast. It is not primarily a future microchip or a digital currency. It is an interior conformity of the soul that is happening now. Drawing from the patristic tradition, specifically Irenaeus and Augustine, the mark is a recapitulation of apostasy and the love of self carried to the point of contempt for God. It is inscribed on the forehead through what you habitually think, and on the hand through what you habitually do. If your attention is managed by the values of the city of man, you are already being branded. The number 666 represents a false completion, a system that is always one short of the divine perfection of 7. To counter this, you must seek the seal of the Lamb, which is inscribed through the daily bodily practices of the sacramental life, confession, the Eucharist, and the daily examination of conscience. One of the most potent instruments in this battle is the Saint Benedict medal. Exorcists carry this medal because it represents 15 centuries of anti-demonic authority. It is not a lucky charm, it is the summary of Benedict's rule, a system designed to eliminate the demonic's points of purchase by ordering every hour toward God. The Latin initials on the medal, VRS-NSMV, Vade Retro Satana, are a direct command to the enemy. Begone, Satan. Never tempt me with your vanities. This medal works because it invokes the 12 degrees of humility, which systematically destroy the pride that the enemy exploits as an entry point. Placing this medal at your threshold is a declaration of ownership, but it only holds power if the life behind the door is in a state of grace. Finally, you must remember that you are never alone. Your guardian angel has been with you since your birth, watching every crisis and every moment of goodness with a proximity that no human relationship can approach. This silent companion knows the hour of your crossing and is currently intensifying its guidance to prepare you for the final moments of your life. In the moment before you die, your angel will perform a final intercession, acting as a specific advocate before the throne of God. It will defend you against the final assault of the enemy, who targets your exact spiritual wounds in those last seconds of exposure. It will then present your soul at the particular judgment, ensuring the full account of your offered suffering and hidden goodness is recognized. The relationship you build with your angel today determines how effectively it can guide you through that final crossing. CTA complete. Do not let the nothing win another day. You must rebuild the walls of your home today. Start by going to confession this week to tear up the legal contract the enemy holds over your soul. This is the only way to reopen the conduit of angelic ministry. Next, establish a domestic rule. Pray the rosary together as a family, teaching your children the key to the colors you were never given. Finally, bless your home. Place a properly blessed Benedict medal at your threshold and a crucifix in every main room as a physical declaration that this house belongs to God. Subscribe to the Unseen Shield to master the spiritual physics of the invisible world and join a community dedicated to rebuilding the infrastructure of protection. Comment "Shielded" below if you are ready to start your spiritual audit tonight. Share this message with one person who is currently lost in the fog of the nothing strategy. Your guardian angel is waiting for you to turn toward them, not tomorrow, but right now. Turn the lights back on. Pick up your rosary. Begin.